What is up, Axie fam? You guys read the title of the video, so let's get going to it. This guy sent me this message yesterday, and he's like, I think I have discovered a potential candidate of S20 God Mac, and I was like, oh, all right, that's interesting. And then he made like this video that is pretty much only like audio.
Hi, everyone.
And I don't really like, this is 7 minutes long, okay? But the gist of the video is he wants to sell the idea, a very common popular Mac these days, and even in season 19 actually, was the Hero Arco double nut. I don't think this was even like that popular at the beginning of season, but it definitely like became popular, and nowadays it is overall like a super cheap Axie, right? You can buy for 0.024, even if you go to like zero breed and 49 speed, you're still gonna pay very little for this bad boy. And you know, this is a good Axie, all right? Nutcracker does a lot of damage even after all of the skill changes, and Hero is a zero cost card. Arco gives you speed, but Arco, here's like where, you know, he has a point. The thing is, this Axie has 49 speed, right? So if you use Arco on yourself, which gives you 20% speed, what happens is you go up to 59, all right? So you're increasing your speed by 9 or 10. Whereas if you use low, and let's say you are a mech versus a bird, which is usually a matchup that really destroys mechs, and you use Incisor, which would mean reducing this guy's speed by 20%, you actually move that speed more. So in this case, if we do consider that the speed is actually 48, we did move 13 speed instead of 9 or 10 when you use speed on yourself. Now here's the thing, this guy didn't message only me. I actually opened this account, and he sent, you know, Jiho this message, and he sent this guy this message, and sent me this message. And yeah, like he definitely spammed a fair amount of people with this Axie. And I was like, huh, that's very interesting. Let's check how many of these Axies there are. And here's where my argument is not going to be as good as if I made this video yesterday. And the thing was, I was actually at my GF's place yesterday, and because of that, I was not able to make this video. I have a very strong opinion that this guy is this is his Axie. Like, this is literally his Axie right here. But the thing is, it actually cost 2 Ethereum. So right now it's been like about 18 hours ever since he sent me that message, and this Axie was bought like 2 hours after. I'm not really sure why, but like this doesn't show 20 or 21 hours, like it just says a day ago once you get close to a day. But like 1 or 2 hours after this Axie was purchased by 0.05 Ethereum, by the way. So this guy came I think this guy came up with this idea. He poached this guy for very cheap, and then he increased the price to 2 Ethereum, and he was trying to sell this to someone. And I think it didn't work, and now he decreased the price 10x, and it's 0.2. And you know, maybe there's even an argument for this actually being this good. But what I want to get across in this video at the end of the day is that you should be very careful and very you should know people's intentions when they make content, all right? Because I made content about an Axie that I thought was strong, right? The twin tail, the God Mac that ended up not being as good as I wanted it to be, just because Cattail was such a hard counter to it. But to this day, you see the twin tail furball, you know, still selling quite a bit after the nerfs is not as good, but it was a good Axie. But when I was shilling that Axie, you guys knew I was also breeding. So you, like, as a human being, you knew that I had stakes in my opinion. And so it was in my own self-interest to tell you guys that Axie was good, but it was actually really good. So when you see a content creator actually talking, I mean, this guy is not a content creator, but anyone that like wants to sell you on an Axie might have actual stakes profiting from that Axie. The thing is, a lot of content creators don't share with you that they, you know, are selling that Axie somewhere, somehow, some way. And I just want, you to think about that the next time someone, says to you that an Axie is good. Because I was always very transparent about everything that I'm breeding. And by the way, I want to share with you guys something that I'm breeding, because I did actually get back to it. And not only am I going to share what I'm breeding, but I'm going to share a tip that I don't see being talked about anywhere. And it's about how you should and how you could select good Axies, and how you could breed stuff from much less than you think it's possible. So give me a second here. So one Axie that is gaining a lot of traction right now is the Mosquito, Scaly Spoon, Biden's, Gravel, and Plant. All right, so if you actually see here, there is an actual increase in price in Ethereum with these guys. See how this is definitely an uptrend. And I find that very interesting, first of all. So another thing that I find very interesting, and this is an actual number, an index that I taught you guys how to calculate in one of my latest videos, which is the amount of zero breed Axies being sold percentage-wise to the total number of Axies. So I have a theory, and it is backed up by data, that as an Axie becomes popular, the number of zero breeds being sold increase, and that's because the difference in price from zero breed to bred diminishes as the market gets flooded with Axies. I really feel like if you're looking at 30-40% zero breeds per the total amount of Axies being sold in the marketplace, you're already in a terrible spot. And I really use this to decide whether I want to start breeding something or not, to see where in the actual cycle of that Axie we are. And if we look at the cycle right now, you can see here we have 5 zero breeds being sold in the last 21 days versus 42 total Axies being sold, which means we are at 12%, which I think it's a very good place to start. By the way, guys, this is my bot. If you never heard of this is the only thing that actually sponsors this channel and makes me any money besides all of the free tips that I do. I guess I also do consulting, so we have like tons of different features here. You can calculate how much 2 Axies are going to profit if you do breed them. You can look at graphs from whatever type of Axie you're looking for in the marketplace. You can also, if you want to breed a particular Axie and you don't know what you want to pick, my bot can also do that for you. So, check our link in the description if you're interested. If you want any sort of consulting Axie related, you can also message me on Discord and we can talk. But yeah, going back to the Axie that I am breeding, let me show you guys something. All right, the Axie I am breeding is this guy right here. So it's the Scaly Spoon, Biden's, Gravel Ant, and Mosquito. All right, and the reason this is good is Zigzag got nerfed quite a bit. Mosquito does much more damage, even when you consider that, you would get the bonus percentage damage from having Zigzag as a plan card. Mosquito still does much more. And, the market is flooded with Zigzag anyways, so you can't really make that much money out of it. Even if Zigzag is not a bad card and still, like, decent, I feel like Mosquito is much better. And when we go to zero breed here and we select the correct stats from, like, the optimal build, which would be, 57 speed and 57 health with 32 speed, you will notice something, right? These Axies are very expensive if you want to buy them zero breed. And I actually started my seed farm spending much less than 0.226 whatever. And I'm going to show you a way that you can actually price the genes of an Axie, so you know whether you're getting a good deal out of it or not. I mean, it's so simple, right? You should be able to look at an Axie and calculate whether, how much you're paying per gene in a way, yet no one teaches you how to do it. And the reason people don't teach you how to do it is that a lot of people that breed, they don't really know at all how the gene structure works. So this is obviously an approximation, so bear with me here, but this by itself is good enough so that you can get some pretty decent conclusions on your own. So this is how it works. When you look at the effect a gene has in the structure of an Axie, this is how it looks like. All right, so this is D, R1, and R2. And usually D is going to be 3 times as impactful as R1, and R1 is going to be 3 times as impactful as R2 to bring that gene towards the D genes of an Axie that you breed. And knowing this, you can actually relatively quickly calculate how much you're paying per gene. So let me give you an example. So let's check this super expensive Axie here, the most expensive one at least so far. And here's one thing you need to know when you're breeding plants. A lot of people don't know this, but each type of Axie has, the best type of status that you can have. With plants, if you don't have plants in D, if you don't have plant genes in D, the Axie is just going to be worth much, much less. So if you're actually calculating the price of the genes, you can't only look at the skills that you can use in, as mosquitoes, Katie spoon, Biden's gravel ant. Yes, those are the skills that you use in game, but you really want the plants there. So if you're breeding, you want to get as many Axies with plant genes in D. And so even if the eyes and the ears don't count as skills, you really need to account them when you calculate this. So if you would quickly calculate the genes here, I guess I can open the thing just so it's a little bit easier for you to realize. All of the genes in the D column are perfect. All right, so we would get 9 points for the eyes, then 9 points for the ears, then 9, 9, 9, 9. Which that sounds kind of weird, which accounts for 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, right? Am I crazy? It's 9 times 6, so yes, that is 54 in the D column. Then if we actually go here, we have an impurity on spiky wing, but that is the only impurity, so that would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And then we would have actually only impurities in R2 besides gravel ant, so that would give us 1 point, which means the total sum of this Axie is actually 70, and we would be paying, we can actually use dollars here, so $574. So yeah, if we divide the price per amount of genes, this means we are paying $8.2 per actual gene unity or whatever it is that you want. And I mean, with only one example, you can't really know whether this is cheap or expensive, right? So I want to show you guys something, because a lot of people, when they breed, they just look for that Axie and they look at the options, right? Like I showed here, and they're like, should I pay 0.15 for this guy, or should I pay 0.22 for this guy? And there's such a broad, huge world. All like there's like 10 million Axies, right? And if you don't really know what you're doing, this is all you're gonna look for. Let me show you guys this Axie. All right, so this Axie doesn't have all of the genes that we want, right? Because it actually has tiny turtle here. It has tiny turtle instead of mosquito. At the same time, though, when you look at the genes, it has perfect scaly spoon, perfect Bidens, it has almost perfect gravel ant, and at the same time, the only impurity that it has here is 1 reptile. So sure, we do have some impurities around here, but if you find an Axie with a lot of mosquitoes, and if this Axie is cheap enough, there might be a world where it makes sense to breed this guy, right? There should be one. And the Axie that I bred it with was this guy. He actually has the perfect plant genes, has perfect mosquito, double Bidens, and gravel ant. And sure, it doesn't look great, but I'm paying I'm paying less than half of the price of that guy. And there's more implications actually on doing this the way I'm doing. But before we even get there, let's actually calculate how much we're paying per gene in this case, and see if there might be a world where it makes sense to breed this guy. It has everything but mosquito perfect, so instead of 54, we're actually getting 45 here in the D column. Then when we look here, it also has an impurity with that reptile thing, so we have 3, then 6, 9, and 12. And then in the last column, we actually have double plants, which is perfect. We also have Scaly Spoon and Bidens. So that's 2 extra 4 points for us, which totals about, so that's 16, that would be 61, right? That would be 61, which is close, about, 15% lower than that guy. But you know how much I paid for this Axie? Well, I paid 0.035 Ethereum. Well, that's the price of Ethereum, I guess. So if you do this, we get about $88, which is, much, much less. So what happens when we divide how much I'm paying per gene here? Well, this is about 1.44 per gene, which is, I don't know, 6 times less. What if we divide, 8.2 divided by this, we get 5.7 times cheaper. And sure, all right, because we don't have Mosquito here, you really need to go all out and find something that has triple Mosquito and at the same time looks good. So this is not always possible, all right? This is not, it is easier said than done, especially if you're looking manually for it. But this is where our sponsor comes in again. So the way we actually do that is by using a feature called Brelock. So as you can see, I use this command to look for the price and the graphs and all of the good stuff about this Axie. But if I just substitute Arc for Brelock here, what I can do is actually find a list of the best Axies I could breed and that I could breed to get whatever it is that I want. And this is awesome, all right? But another thing that I can do is get this command and also find perfect partners for my bad boy. So if I get this guy and do this, it will force our bot to find Axies that have good Mosquito, right? Because at the end of the day, the problem with this guy is exactly that. He has really good genes for whatever reason I want, but he doesn't have any Mosquito. So you want to go all out with Mosquito. And that's how I was able to find the partners. That's how I was able to, spending much less than if I went here. I actually have a almost the same, but even higher chance of getting better Axies. And the reason for that is, sure, I could buy this 0.15 guy and this 0.19 guy, but look at the impurities here. It has a lot of top impurities. So if I want to have a really good farm for these plants, it is gonna be kind of hard, honestly, because first of all, the value of these guys is lower because it doesn't have perfect plants on top of it. So I don't really want to breed them too much because the expected value out of the offspring is lower, and thus breeding it increases my costs. And at the end of the day, you might just run into super bad scenario. In my case, because I have really good overall genes when you look at the eyes and the ears, which is going to be almost perfect plants, and I have perfect Mosquito on this side, I have perfect Scaly Spoon, perfect Bidens, there is a much higher chance I can get to a printer faster, and I'm also spending less money. So yes, this is an ad for my bot, but at the same time, I would be very surprised if you ever heard a lot of the concepts I just talked about here. And this is just a small part of the things that I like to discuss with people when I do consulting for them. So maybe if you were confused with some of the things that I talked about here, make sure to give me a call on Discord and we can talk prices and all. But this was also a lot of pretty much free value to everyone. So if you did enjoy, make sure to let me know why you enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me also know why. I read, I don't respond to a lot of comments, but I read pretty much all of them. And give it a like, subscribe if you found that this video was useful, because that's usually what I do. All right, I do sure, I do talk about my bot and my consulting, but this is all services that I do and that I really trust. and this is how I would like to maintain this channel forever. I don't really want to talk about shitty NFTs or whatever other games coming out. Like, I really do trust everything that I actually worked with and created myself. So, you know, that's why I can be a little bit annoying about it too sometimes. So thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one, and bye.